The breweries companies have outperformed the market significantly over the last few years, and the reasons for that are not far-fetched. But to get some insight into why, we have Efemena Esalomi. She's a brewery analyst at Vetiva Capital. She's going to be sharing some thoughts on the brewery industry in Nigeria. Efemena, thank you so much for joining us today. First of all, let's talk about the potential for new entries. We've seen, obviously, there's huge potential in the Nigerian market. Per capita consumption is extremely low relative to the rest of Africa, definitely South Africa. But we've only seen, the only major player we've seen come in recently is SABMiller. Correct. Give us your thoughts on the potential to see more.
Sure. Nigerian breweries and Guinness are pretty much the dominant players with over 90% of the market right now. And they really perform in the premium segments and the mainstream segments. So for someone like SABMiller, you find that they're trying to enter the Nigerian market from the low-end segment. With their new beer that's been made completely from cassava, something like that would be used to enter the low-end segments in Nigeria. It's not going to be really easy. Investments will be very high. When you look at Guinness, who just invested 225 million euros in the country, and with Nigerian breweries that just purchased Sona Systems and Live Brewers. So the potential is there, but it's going to require some level of investment.
Indeed, and obviously there's a tough war going on with the likes of Nigerian breweries buying up several breweries recently. So they're obviously trying to defend the market. But let's talk a bit about the short-term issues for Nigeria. Obviously, we know that the Naira has been under pressure recently, and many of these brewers continue to import, if you like, a significant portion of their inputs. And then there's also the issue of the rate hikes and the impact that that's having on working capital and the cost of doing business. Give us your thoughts on the short-term outlook for breweries in Nigeria.
In general, I think the brewery sectors have done pretty well with everything that's been going on. The brewery sector has been moving towards getting their input materials locally. So you'll find that Guinness has a target of 60%, and is doing way above that. About 70% is gotten domestically. Same thing for Guinness, which does 68% local input materials. So on that side, I think they are doing pretty well. In terms of currency effects, someone like Guinness and Nigerian breweries will pretty much be doing purchases on the group level, so they shouldn't really face pressures on currency-wise. Same thing for the interest rate. Although Nigerian breweries, we believe, has gone to the market to fund the acquisition of Sona System and Live Brewers, but we think they should still be able to get a competitive interest rate.
What about the long-term potential? Obviously, we know the market is big and it's likely to get bigger with rising per capita income. And of course, the Nigerian government has a pretty aggressive agriculture plan, and that obviously will support local inputs.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, the future looks good for the brewery sector. I mean, we have a growing population. We have a rising middle class with some higher disposable income. So obviously the renewed focus on the agricultural sector will help with higher yields and hopefully stable prices, stable input prices. So I think the future is bright, and I mean that's why you see the likes of SABMiller really trying to get in.
Let's talk a bit about the market segmentation. Obviously we have the premium and, if you like, middle segment, and then of course the low segment. What are your thoughts on the dynamics you will see in that? Obviously we know SABMiller is making a play for the low segment now.
Correct. Well, really, the play has really been in the premium end and the mainstream. Premium, we're talking about Heineken and Guinness Foreign Extra Stout. In the middle segment, you'd really be talking about Star and Harp and Golder, Legend also. The low-end segment has not really received much focus from Nigerian breweries and Guinness, although, like we said, Nigerian breweries is taking a step in that direction.
Okay, let's come back to the market. And like I mentioned, those two companies have outperformed the market recently, but what are your thoughts on valuations for those stocks right now?
Currently, we have a neutral rating on both stocks. But like I said, they're doing well. They're usually priced at a premium relative to the market. Guinness has performed 9% year to date, and Nigerian breweries 19%. So they're doing well so far.
Going forward?
Going forward, I think we'll continue to see that they are defensive stocks, so there's going to be a flight to quality in the market.
All right. Let's come back to government policy. Like I mentioned, agriculture has been a focus. I noted in a research report by ARM recently, saying that malted barley is a major input for these producers, and the international price for that input recently has been somewhat volatile. Give us again your thoughts on the should I say the importance of the government agrics policy right now to support beyond the breweries other companies.
Okay. Well, I think it's really a good thing. Like, we look at the brewery sector, the key input material there is sorghum. And sorghum is fully, and Nigeria is fully independent in sorghum production. We even export a bit of sorghum, and which the brewery sector has moved towards. So I think they're doing pretty well. As long as that's sustained in the industry, the brewery sector should be fine. And also that should translate to other consumer food manufacturing companies.
And what about brand loyalty? What are your thoughts on that?
On brand loyalty, Nigerians are pretty loyal to an extent. When we look at the likes of Guinness Foreign Extra Stout and the Herbs and Star, they're really status symbols, I should say. So I think they would continue to be so for a long time, and I think Nigerians would continue to be loyal to their brands.